What up, what up? Welcome back. I'm B. Ryder. That's my co-host.
J. Bell.
And this is Final Thoughts. Today's topic, Dr. Umar Johnson. This is going to be a little different than before, so just bear with us on this.
It's going to be a journey.
Yeah, there's a lot to say in this, so let's check it out.
So if I were Mexican, the school be done. If I were Chinese, the school be done. Mm-hmm. If I was East Indian, if I was Arab, if I was European Jew, if I was Italian, the school be done. Mm-hmm. It's only because it's us that we don't take something like this as serious.
So let's get it popping on this journey through Dr. Umar.
All right, cool. I don't want to waste too much time if we can help it. But first, let's just start with the first thing he said. It's because it's us, the school isn't done, because it's black people. What does that mean exactly?
I disagree with that sentiment. I don't think it's because it's us. I think it has a lot to do with his inability to be transparent.
I agree with that. Yeah.
What you think?
I think it's all of that. I think it's his inability to be transparent, and then some of the inflammatory things she said in the past that kind of may turn people off a little bit from supporting,
Yeah, because we have lots of examples where we've supported and uplifted another black person to greatness. You know what I'm saying? And you can look at like YouTube and see that, like and subscribe and all that kind of stuff. Donations. You'll see share the page and people supporting in their ways. Right. So I don't see it.
I'm not convinced either. Like yet, but sure. Moving on.
It's not that black people don't support other black people. We are not used to being responsible for building our own institutions. Are you following me? Mm-hmm. If I was opening up a nightclub, some sort of a summer basketball league, I would have the support. But we are not accustomed to being responsible for building our own institutions. So, for example, if you look around America, can you show me a single independent black community in 50 states? 50 states, you can't show me one black community where we own the hospital, the bank, the school, and the supermarket. So those are the four essential institutions of an independent community. You don't have those four in any black town anywhere in the United States, and we are a $2 trillion people. How do you explain that? And I would say slavery, one of the psychological residuals of slavery, it took from us that natural desire to want to control your environment and your destiny.
So, how do you feel? Do you think that black people aren't used to building our own institutions? We out of the loop now.
No, not in the slightest. I mean, of course, we can't ignore systemic racism, but we have historically built cities, buildings, our own schools, stuff like that. We have. I mean, we have evidence of what did you say, Rosewood?
Yeah. If you want to discount, Tulsa, Black Wall Street, that is literally an institution or a city that had several institutions,
right?
Where black people own banks and all that. I think is he talking about today's day and age? So is he saying like we are no longer used to doing that, or used to being responsible for that?
I don't know. Because it's like he goes back and forth. He'll talk about historical things that happened.
Right.
And then he'll talk about what's going on currently. But when he's having these conversations, it's kind of like you almost don't know every time what point in time is he coming from. It's just black people are not used to X, Y, Z. And you'll be like, well, yes, we are, because we've done this.
Yeah, right.
But then he got that little wiggle room. I'm talking about now. And it's like, wait, what? Didn't LeBron James just build a school? You know, the thing that he's supposed to be doing.
He's gonna get there. He's gonna get there come hell or high water. But yeah, that I think that's a good point. And about us having no independent black community.
I still think that's false. We have a lot of independent, I'd say, black communities. I think even right now, we have black people in, is it Georgia? Like, is it Killer Mike?
Yeah.
I think Killer Mike, they're trying to do a bank. I think they're trying to do an entire city.
They are.
You know what I'm saying? They that's boots to the ground. They're like doing something. Yeah. It's not just talk.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's kind of, it's weird when he says something like that, like we have no independent black community, because you have to really define what that means. Because what do you call an independent black community? Like, in what he's talking about, like in today's day and age, today's society, like there aren't really many completely independent communities. So if you have a predominantly Asian community where Asians mostly live there and there's an Asian grocery store, that doesn't necessarily mean that the bank that the grocery store uses is owned by Asians. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like in that community, there's still a McDonald's. You see what I'm saying? Like, so when you say an independent black community, does that mean that the Taco Bell up the street has to be owned by a black person? Does that mean that the bank that the grocery store uses has to be owned by a black person? Because if you go to most communities, all of these things differ. The person who owns the grocery store doesn't care that the bank is owned by somebody who looks like them, just so long as they're able to trade money.
Right.
So that the whole idea of, we need an independent black community is like, what do you mean by that? It doesn't really work in today's society. Like, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's that like almost endless regression. If Taco Bell, so who owns the Taco Bell?
Right.
Who's that person getting their money from?
Right.
What bank is that?
Right.
Who owns the bank?
Right.
It goes back
on
and back.
On. And all of these people have to be black? Like, is there a cutoff point? So it's just kind of,
it's a little funny, like, because when he get on black people about him not having his school and stuff like that, it's amazing that the issues with us not supporting him instead of him not putting boots to the ground and getting things done and being more transparent and being in a position to have to breed trust amongst other black people. Like, we need to see what you doing. Like, he raised, like he said he needed like 350,000. Dude raised initially about $1 million, and he's still saying that he need free plumbers, HVACs, and electricians. And it's just like, fam, you had the money.
Yeah.
What exactly did you do with that money? And that's the question that a lot of people have. You raised over the amount that you were supposed to raise. So what are we talking about here? Yeah. And this is us, and this brings me to this other point that he said in the story. He said slavery took the natural desire to want to control our environment. Do you think that is true?
That is that is
our natural
absolutely
desire
insane to me. Like,
to control our environment.
Because look at the things that we did after slavery. We didn't get Black Wall Street until after slavery. You understand?
Yeah.
Like, we didn't get a lot of these industrious towns that were predominantly black owned until after slavery. So you can't really say we lost our desire to control we were controlling our environment. Our environment just happened to be destroyed by people who didn't want us to have that environment.
Absolutely. Think about it like Martin Luther King. These are him and people who followed him desire to control their environment. And to go on a higher scale, Malcolm X, because they were more militant.
Oh, yeah.
You know, in the Black Panther Party. How is this not evidence of us trying to control our environment? You could go back and look at the the countless videos, the books that these men have written.
Yes.
And you'll see that this is clear evidence of just us not just laying down. This is us standing up, uplifting each other and trying to be better, and understanding that, we do work in a world that's controlled by the white man, but we're taking control now. And this is what we're going to do in order to go forward.
That's our desire to control our environment.
Yeah.
What would you say to people in Atlanta who be like, well, we are a black city?
When you look at the statistics, though, in Atlanta, when you look at the homelessness, and when you look at the high school completion rate for black boys, and when you look at the property ownership, I do not see this black mecca propaganda proof that people are talking about. Not to mention the extremely high black male HIV AIDS rate, which in Atlanta is higher than it is for many second and third world nations around the world.
Wow.
So, do you count Atlanta as an independent black community?
That's tough, being that it's like city is heavily black, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's very black.
Independent. I don't know. I would have to understand where he's coming from with that.
What independent means, right?
I mean, I know what it means, but it's that wiggle room he always gives himself.
What does he mean when he says this?
Because we know the endless regression thing. Like,
what do you mean by independent?
Yeah,
It's just curious that Charlemagne brought up Atlanta as an independent black city, and he was. I guess he didn't really count it as that, but it wasn't. He didn't count it as an independent black community, not because it wasn't independent, but because of the homelessness rate, the AIDS, HIV epidemic, and was it the high school completion rate?
Yeah, high school completion.
And it's just like these things are kind of separate from it being an independent community. Like,
I think it's just facets of a community. Period.
Yeah,
these are things you're gonna have. You know, sickness, homelessness.
Yeah.
Poverty, however you want to call that.
Right. Whether it's independent or not.
Yeah.
Their communities, it could have these things.
Now the rate at which what he was saying, he was compared to a third world.
He said that it was the HIV/AIDS rate is higher than most third world countries, which I'm not sure.
Again.
I'm not sure how he's measuring this.
What did he mean by rate?
Yeah, because it's like, is he talking about the rate of infection, the spread of it? Is he talking about the percentage?
Yeah.
Of people? It's kind of hard to say what he means when he says that.
And that's just what I'd be wanting him to
be clear.
Yeah,
right. Just because clarity matters, right? And that's the thing. That's what I probably dislike about it most, is because he has this tendency to be nebulous at times. Like we said when we talk about independent black community, what does that mean? When he's talking about the HIV/AIDS rate, what does that mean? We can acknowledge that there is a problem with the rate of infection in Atlanta, definitely, right?
Yeah.
But when he's comparing it to a third world country, I don't know what he's using to do this, because speaking about Atlanta's high school completion rate, he's incorrect about that. Atlanta's high school completion rate is about average.
Yeah, for what you would expect for that city.
Yeah, for that city.
That population.
Yeah. I think a low high school completion rate is like mid-70s, low 70s. Like our New Orleans high school completion rate is 77%, which is pretty low.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Sadly, it does. But Atlanta's is in the 80s, I think like Raleigh, North Carolina is in the 90s, which is high, which is great for them.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
But being that Atlanta's like 83%, that's actually about normal. So their high school completion, him alluding that the high school completion rate is poor is just not true. Even the homelessness rate isn't super high the way that he's kind of implying that it is. It's kind of high, but it's not. It's not even like in like the top 5 of highest homeless rate. But hey, moving on.
They're showing that amongst the white suburban public and charter schools, 60% of them and greater are back in school. But when you look at the black inner city hood schools, 40% and lower are back in school. You know why? Because the white teachers aren't as motivated to go back into the school and teach the black kids, but they don't have a problem going back into the school to teach the white kids. So the white kids are back in the building. The black kids are still at home. It's racism.
So his point where he brings up 60% of suburban white schools are back in schools, whereas it's 40% black schools.
Yeah.
Are in school.
Yeah.
So what's your thoughts about that one?
That statistic is fair enough, true. That is pretty true. The problem with that is that it's not for the reasons that he implies. Because he's implying that the system or a racist government
White man.
is keeping black schools closed while opening white schools, right? Which you would think would be like better for us because COVID is out there or whatnot. But whatever. Anyway, but the reason that this discrepancy is here is because black parents are opting to homeschool their children more than their white counterparts. That's what's currently going on. So white parents are more, I guess, free to send their children back to school.
You know who it is, bro. Like, it's the ones you've seen on TV with the signs, with the red hat. I don't think I need to tell you what's on the red hat. But you know, the ones who've been wanting and itching to get the economy back open. You know, the ones who the ones who stormed the Capitol.
Get out.
It's those people. You know what I'm saying?
They're
it's a good bit of them, you know, in that 60%.
Free to send their children out because I guess they feel like it's less danger, you know, to do it.
Why you say that?
Because they either think that COVID is a hoax or isn't as dangerous as
you and I
they say it is. Wow. Black parents are more likely to keep our kids home either because of fear of COVID or, you know, because, hey, this is actually working out better than that they thought they could, thought that it would, you know. So
a lot of black families also have like older relatives that's still in their house, like, you know, Momo, T. Your parent, you know, your uncle and them. So I think that
Fred and them back in there, you know, nigga take care of Shorty.
I think a lot of it is is due to the fact that, like, one, they don't want the kid to go out there and contract a deadly disease, and two, they don't want that kid to come back home and spread that disease to the people that's in their household.
Right.
So, like, they always say it takes a village to raise a family. A lot of black people live and die by that. Like, you'll still see great grandmothers still like at home and it just be be just like that. So I think that's due in part to the 40% is in part to like black people making that or coming to that understanding that, you know, this is serious. We could really lose our beloved family members if we be reckless.
You can't bring that back home to mama.
Right.
You're not gonna let that happen. So
yeah, man. So what about the part where he said that black kids are placed in special ed because of intelligence, behavior disorders,
and
learning.
emotional. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That he's pretty much just right about. That is the thing. It does seem like black children are placed in special ed more so because of either a behavioral problem, or perceived behavioral problem, or some type of intelligence learning disability. Right. That part is just, it is what it is.
Yeah, he did say that part where black kids will be considered a disturbance if they only have a problem with one of their teachers, but not all of them, or most of the teachers and peers.
Right.
And I was like, okay, that
could be
I can
a thing.
see that.
Yeah,
I can see that.
That could definitely be a thing.
Give him credit. What about the drugs? So we got our kids. That's what these emotional disturbances, physical,
right.
And now they're suggesting that we put our kids on drugs.
Right. The ADD, the ADHD.
And how that they can be dangerous and have irreversible side effects.
Yeah.
What you think about that?
That's true as well. That is a thing. They can putting your child on these different types of medications can lead to heart complications, heart problems that can, persist for years to come.
And dependency.
They can become there's a tendency to become addicted to these things. So when he said that is absolutely correct too. So you definitely want to be concerned about that, and you don't want to put your child on these drugs just willy-nilly without thought, because there are consequences to them, right?
Yeah. But
speaking of,
he also said,
speaking of drugs,
about drugs,
as much as it's probably the most praise I've ever given Dr. Umar for that, but fine, but he did screw this particular part up, talking
chemistry
about
coming back.
when he said that many of these drugs are a molecule or two away from crack cocaine, right? So, is he right about that? Yeah, he's correct about that. The problem,
however,
the problem with that statement is that it really doesn't mean anything. It means nothing, because most compounds, most chemicals are a molecule or two away from something else that could be dangerous.
Yeah.
Everything. Hydrogen, for instance. How far is hydrogen away from water? Literally 2 atoms of oxygen. That's all that's missing to make hydrogen into water. So if we were to just take Dr. Umar's, word to heart, does that make water dangerous? You know that water you're drinking is only an atom or 2 away from just straight hydrogen. And we all know hydrogen explodes.
Yeah, hydrogen bombs. Boom.
Does that make sense? Are you gonna stop drinking water now?
Or would you stop using salt, like sodium chloride? Sodium is a deadly gas, independently of chloride. Mm-hmm. If you take chlorine, and it put it in contact with water, it's explosive. Put sodium chloride together, guess what? You have table salt, which you actually need in your diet.
Yeah.
Salt.
But
helps
remember,
retain water. It helps retain water.
Salt is only a molecule or 2 away from an explosion. So you might want to be careful with that. This is why this type of this dialogue, it doesn't mean anything. It's a scare tactic used to scare people away from trusting medication. You should be concerned and worry of your medication, but don't allow someone to fear monger around your medication, because what he said here, it literally means nothing. Everything that you've ever eaten, consumed, or put in your body is a molecule or two away from something deadly.
Absolutely.
So it doesn't mean anything. But hey, we gave him credit though.
We did.
Moving on.
No laws have been changed. No laws have been added to hold the police accountable for the unjustified murder of unarmed black people.
That's right.
So we are right where we were before Chauvin was convicted. And the only reason why he was convicted, to be honest with you, it had nothing to do with black justice. Derek Chauvin was convicted for the same reason O.J. Simpson was acquitted. Now, I don't know if O.J. Simpson was guilty or innocent, but that's irrelevant. The reason O.J. got off in 95 is because the Rodney King riots in 1992 cost Los Angeles County untold millions of dollars in damage. They were still repairing the county when OJ went to trial. Do you really think they're going to let the city burn down a second time when we haven't done making the repairs from the first riot?
Yeah, there have been plenty of bills proposed, but as far as like any of them passing into law, that is a different story.
Ooh, like, especially during Trump time. They just, you saw that thing? Yeah, all right. Yeah. Let's get this McDonald's for this football team that won.
I think Trump actually did sign an executive order for a police reform bill, though. It didn't go as far as what the Democrats wanted, but he did actually sign a police reform.
What is that? A required 15 more hours of training or something like that? Police sensitivity.
Yeah. I know that it wasn't
things that amount to nothing.
It wasn't going as far as what a lot of the Democrats wanted. So there's that. I guess that was a thing that happened.
Yeah.
Would we count that? You know?
I'm gonna give it it's a no for me, though. Another point that the illustrious Dr.
Great and powerful
Umar Cornelius
Ozymandias Johnson.
He did say Joe Biden hasn't signed an executive order to protect black people from police. So that is true.
Yeah, that's true. Very true.
Again, it's a weird. So like, okay. And I have no problem with that being, something like an executive order. But do you really think it's gonna work? Like, that's what I'd be questioning. Do you really think that's gonna work? Because he's bringing it up, but in my opinion is like, do you think that's gonna work?
These type of things really need to be done at the state level. If we're talking about reforming police departments,
right?
Presidents can sign executive orders, right? But
all day.
You really need governors and mayors to take control of this situation.
Yes.
To reform their police departments, because their hands are in the pot. They're the ones who are closest to the problem, right? So if you really want your police department to change, then you need to get a hold of the person who can change it. You need to elect a police commissioner who has your best interest in mind. A mayor.
Get out and vote. That's what he's saying, I think.
Basically, like these things are better taken care of at the local level. There's like people like to bring up that a lot of this stuff started off around Obama when he was president. There really wasn't a lot that Obama could have done to change what was happening. We needed local governors, local mayors to take care of business. And those are the people who really should be held accountable for these situations.
Yeah, so bringing up like what Joe Biden did or didn't do, or what Barack Obama did or didn't do, is kind of like pointless because, like you said, it's something that needs to be taken care of on the local level. If we can't get out and vote for people who are in our best interest, then they are. and I think you know who they are, red hat. They're going to vote for people in their best interest.
And it's not a Mario hat either. And an M on that mug.
To keep it within the same realm, George Floyd.
Right. That's a rough one now.
What do you think about Umar's statement about him being Derek Chauvin being convicted because of the fear of riots?
Well, that is partially true. Like I could say that, you know, there's definitely,
I can see that too.
There's definitely a level of truth to that.
Thought it was hell before.
Yeah, I think we all kind of knew that if this dude doesn't get convicted, it was gonna be hell to pay.
Oh yeah,
you know?
Oh yeah.
And at the same time, I don't want to give fear. I don't want fear to take away from justice being served, you know, because this was supposed to happen. And I don't want to say that this only happened because people were afraid to do what they wanted to do, you know. And then there's really no way that we can prove that.
Yeah.
You know, there's no measurement we can take to really say that, hey, this is what it is. This is why they convicted him, and that's it. There's no other reason. There's, you know, as sure as Dr. Umar sounds in this, when he says this, he doesn't know either. He just sounds very convincing about it when he says it, you know. But there's no way for us to know for sure. I like to think that, reasonably speaking, it was a little bit of both. It was, hey, we don't want
riots and property destruction, senseless deaths.
Yeah, but also, this dude was wilding, and he was in the wrong. And
we all saw it. The whole world saw it. I think I can agree with that. It was a combination of both, but as far as like giving it a percentage, that's just not something I'd know. I don't think anybody would know that.
Yeah.
Even if you get the people who were on a jury together,
Yeah.
Nobody gonna admit to it. Well, I don't really care. I just wanted to. You know, I don't want my business to. I don't think anybody's gonna admit to it. So it's just like one of those things.
It's one of those
I don't know,
things.
but being 100% just the riot and property thing, like, I don't think so. Not 100%.
Well, I think we touched on a lot today.
Yeah. Still more to come.
More to come. This ain't over with yet.
Yeah.
We're not done with our Lord and Savior, Dr. Umar, just yet. We got a lot more to say about this particular interview. So stay tuned. This is part 1, and we'll have a part 2 coming up. Stay tuned for that. Still like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to be updated for whenever we upload a video.
Yes, sir.
Make sure you like, because that definitely helps out the algorithm. So
yes, definitely.
Please do. But bye for now. I'm B Ryder. This is
J Bell.
And this is Final Thoughts.